wouldn't open my notes up for it. Dude, I told you this before though.
Eh?
Like I told you this before, the story about that guy's tattoo.
Yeah. Yeah, you told me about this.
And for anybody that's listening to this, like I won't say the name, but this guy knows who I'm talking about. But this guy's quite well known, kind of like would you say he's is an idol of some sort to me and you,
Yeah, I would say he's a pretty big idol considering his audience size.
especially in terms of the craft that we're doing. He definitely is
Mm.
like up there, top. But unlike him, like he couldn't give like Tate his flowers, whereas
Mm.
no matter what we think about him, we still give the credit that has positive has positively affected us. Still take the positivity, but on a not so positive note, you remember the story I told you about the tattoo, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, like that, like like I feel like balance is important. So caring what people think about you is just as important as not caring about what people think about you.
Mm.
Because you get what I'm saying. So,
Yeah,
but like I feel like this guy, dude, like he cares way too much about what people think about him. But maybe that's what you need to be like when you get to the level he's at. You know what I mean?
I think it depends on thinking, not so much thinking about what people care about you, but thinking about what the collective image is towards you of what people are saying about you. Because if one person talks shit about you, it's perfectly fine. If 100 people talk shit about you, 100 more people are going to start talking shit about you as well, and it's going to compound.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's actually an excellent way to put it.
Mm.
But even with Tate, even with Big Daddy Tate, there's certain times where you see him, where I've seen him, um, like fall to the public image thing. Like there was a phase, I think, when Vice first started coming at him, um, where when they came at him and called him a misogynist and a bad person, he donated like over R1 million towards women and children, some sort of charity, which is a good thing. But
Mm.
nobody's dumb enough to think that he was going to do that on that day. He did it because of the article. That was quite obvious. So like Tate doesn't mind about people talking badly about him because he knows he has the mass majority that supports him and his foundation. But when he feels like that foundation is at risk, then he does things. But it shouldn't be about the support. It should be about the philosophy and what you believe in. And sometimes that's what I think, right? But then sometimes what you believe in the philosophy, when it's kind of heading on a upward like way, you don't want it to just kind of spiral like this, right? So you want to keep it up, and understandably why he compromised and did what he did, but he made some of his foundation fans, like myself, a bit like you know like suspicious of him. But one thing Tate has is like that he has that cult following, which
Yeah,
is what annoys me a lot. That people will just see the name Tate and what he says, and then think that it's a fucking it's the truth or it's the way forward. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I know what you mean, bro.
But he's certainly not as bad as the first guy we were talking about. No, like he's certainly not that bad. But what's your thoughts on the subject of staying? I want to say relevant. Okay, so let me put it like this. Let me put it like this for you. So attaining and maintaining are two different games. Okay, so when you're attaining something, you can be whatever you want to be. You can be as controversial as you need to be. But maintaining is a different game. Maintaining is way more respectful in my book, and maintaining is way more difficult. But
Yeah,
when you
no
have to
doubt.
maintain, yeah. But when you have to maintain, you have to compromise. You have to, if you have to adapt, you have to be able to adapt. Um, so like, what are your thoughts and how far you think? Do you think the guy we're talking about first and Andrew have gone too far in terms of like maintaining after what I've just said to you? Do you think they've gone too far, or do you think they've done the right thing?
So can you just repeat the first bit of that question? Audio cuts off a bit.
Do you think that they've done too much in terms of maintaining, like the two guys we're talking about now, Andrew and the other guy, or do you think they just did what they needed to do at that specific time, like from what I've just said, the stories and the
Hmm. Yeah, I think they're two completely different things, and you can't really compare them because Andrew has, like you said, a cult following. So
mm,
basically, Andrew can say whatever he wants. He can be as controversial as he wants, but he still has a baseline fan base who will support him no matter what. Whereas
true,
the other guy is more on the side of public image. He doesn't have a cult following. He has a fan base. So his
yeah,
fans will not support him no matter what he says. And they're wanting to go at him at the slightest hint anyway, because every time he's posted one of his shorts, there's always people in commenting on the shorts, attacking him and criticizing him, and they always end
yeah,
up like bringing more people.
yeah. But they're definitely supporting the lifestyle more than anything, right? Like the money and everything.
Yeah,
So another question: how do you think you get to the level where you attain that cult following of whatever you say is gold to the people that are listening to you?
to have a cult following, there's like a formula. I don't know it off my heart, but I saw it in the 48 Laws of Power. Like there's a certain formula that you have to follow in order to have a cult following.
Yeah, yeah, okay. That makes sense. It makes sense why it would be in the 48 Laws of Power, but that's why I haven't read that book because I don't want to. Yeah, that's why I don't want to go down that trajectory. But like,
Yeah.
so my biggest issue at the moment is like, um, me and you are the same. Sometimes we can be a bit too extreme on a certain topic, and I've learned how to be able to balance it out in terms of just like making it matrix friendly is what I would call it, right? Being
Mm,
matrix friendly and but not going too far off from my belief. Um, but the thing that annoys me the most is how much more I keep feeling as if I need to matrix myself more and more and more and more.
mm,
Because um, if you're an established business and you play it safe, there's a lot of profit.
yeah.
Whereas if you're an established business and you carry on the path you're going on as if you're trying to make a name for yourself, you're risking everything you've built.
Yeah. Yeah. Because all it takes is a couple of people, couple of woke people that are leaning so far to the left that they attack you at any moment that they can.
True. And anybody that's watching this, we we have merch coming out, and the first bit of hoodies that are coming out are gonna say, "Fat people." What's to say? Fuck, I even forgot it. What's Relations 3.2? Um, fuck, but it's a fat phobic saying. What does it say? Fat people are like, um, because they don't work out. You know what I mean? I fucking forgot it, but it's fat phobic as fuck. And when I told my mom about it, the first thing she said was like, make sure you play it safe. And um, like I'm not gonna play it safe because it's like I truly believe in what I'm saying and I'm gonna push it through. And that when you're attaining it, you have to put the foundation as to what you believe in. So that's what I'm on the trajectory of doing, as risky as it is. But it made me think if I was established as Iman was, or as established as Andrew was, sorry, as established as
Mm.
Andrew was, would I not put that out, even though it's funny, or even though I believe in it, even though that's something I think is true and funny at the same time. It just made me
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, no doubt, bro.
What do you reckon you would do?
I honestly don't know, dude. Um, the thing is, if you have an established business and you're trying to protect the reputation of it by being matrix compliant, you technically aren't free. So my goal is to be free. Like if you are always matrix compliant and you're always listening to what the people at the top are telling you to do, you're still essentially working a job. You still have people telling you what to do. So that's not true freedom. True freedom is being able to say what you want, how you want, to whoever you want. On top of that.
Mm, mm. That's very true. That's very true.
Mm,
So if you were if you were on the level this guy was on and you had enough money, and the one thing I know about you specifically is that you're very money orientated.
mm,
And let's say you met somebody that wasn't money orientated and you were networking with them and you decided to get into a friendly little bit of competition. And you don't even have to say you're in a friendly bit of competition. You know when you're in competition. And you both are living well and you have the money you want and blah 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 blah. And he's making more money than you at that point in time. And then you come up with this idea that is super risky, but also risk to reward ratio. You know what I mean?
mm.
But yeah, it's difficult to ask you hypothetically because you can only decide when you get to that point in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean.
But for me, from what you've said, I'd probably do the risk anyways because to me, it's all about proving to myself that I am as free as I want to be, and I can do whatever I want. But um, it comes back to the foundation that you don't want to destroy everything you've built. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that
Uh,
scare you?
it does a little bit because if you have already built that and then you want to start getting controversial, then you risk dropping everything. So my personal approach is to
Yeah.
start off controversial. So and build
Okay.
with being controversial.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But if you start off controversial, you will eventually get used to being controversial and people being used to you being controversial.
Mm-hmm.
And then um, at some point, there might be a certain outrage coming your way or a certain, you know what I mean? A certain blast of like angry people coming your way. And if you've been misogynistic your whole career, well, not misogynistic, if you've been controversial your whole career, um, when that comes, it's gonna make you think that holy shit, I've been this the whole time, and only now people are being annoyed. Did I go too
Mm,
far? That's the big issue, and that's what I feel like happened with Big Daddy Tate. Is that when you know a lot of people are tripping, it's like you think
mm,
to yourself, did I go too far this time? Because I will never say anything I don't believe for the sake of being controversial.
mm.
Everything I say would be something I truly believe. So it's like I don't want to go back on what I believe, but I don't want to be the only one believing it. Like as much as I think it's true. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's interesting. That's very interesting because to me, I need to, I can change my beliefs, but even if I'm the last person on earth who holds that belief, if it is true to me, I'm still going to hold onto it no matter what. If somebody can convince me that it's not the right belief and provide me with reason why it's not the right belief, then I'd be willing to change it. But if I can't be convinced that it's the wrong belief, I'm still going to hold onto it no matter what.
Or would you say that out loud?
I just did.
I mean, if people are coming at you though, which is a different situation.
Yeah, because if people are coming at you out of nowhere, when you've been controversial the whole time, and then suddenly people are coming at you out of nowhere, it's an attack. It's an attack by the Matrix because it can't just happen out of nowhere.
But let's say before you say what you say or post what you say, you think to yourself, this could go the wrong way. This could be a risk. Are you willing to take that risk off that one piece of of belief that you have.
That's a good one. That's a very
Hmm.
good one.
Because what you said is actually very good, because you said if nobody's able to convince you otherwise, then you're going to stick to it, which is which is a fundamental of what I would stick to. That's the first rule. But there's obviously after that, there's another thing. That's another thought process. So, would you be willing to risk all of that for that one specific belief when you have a whole? So, because sometimes you have to cut off the arm to save the body. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Well, it depends on like what the belief is, I suppose. If
Yes, I'm gonna get to that. So, the belief is going to be something misogynistic, but I'm only saying that because we're in the era now where if you put women into something or you say women this, and that, people get super, super outraged and they don't listen to the argument. They just get triggered the minute you say women. So
hmm,
that's the only thing I can think
that's
of right
true. Eh?
now. Exactly. That's the only thing I can think of right now that would bother a whole lot of people. So like I've compromised many times on that certain topic in terms of like women. So I've compromised many times, and I don't see it changing in the near future.
Yeah,
Um, I think anybody that follows me and knows me will know that I meant what I said. But I will never apologize. I will compromise, but I'll never apologize. Until I apologize, you'll know I was wrong. But until then, miss me with that. You know what I mean?
yeah, I know what you mean.
It's been fucking with me a lot, bro. Because I see the people I look up to break their character for certain like civilness or saving the vehicle they're in that's heading them to success. You know what I mean? Whereas
Hmm.
like my initial my initial desire to do what I do is to put out the message that I believe is the right message. But I'm also not ignorant enough to think that my message is the only message that is right. I'm willing to listen. So if someone's willing to talk and willing to listen at the same time, then I'm down. But there's not a lot of people like that around anymore.
Yeah, they're on. I don't know. This
Like
generation is weird. This
for
generation is
example,
weird with their opinions. Yeah,
the podcast we had recently,
yeah,
and everybody when I was saying like when they asked me about OnlyFans models, and I was like, I respect it because you gotta get your bag. I think the right wording for that was, um, I understand it, not necessarily respect it. I understand it, but also there's a lot of people out there that are making excuses for not working and making excuses for being broke. So I for me, if you're hustling, I can't hate on your hustle. Um, but what does get to me is when the hustle gets overhyped. So, for example, Mia Khalifa, who's a porn star, um, gave a talk at Oxford University, which is one of the
yeah. I
most,
saw that.
you know,
I saw that.
and people were clapping, and people listened to her give advice about like what it takes to be a successful woman in the industry, and they were admiring that, and I was like, well, basically, you're clapping for someone that sucks dick for money. That's basically just a famous prostitute. So, like, at this point in time, it doesn't bother me that much. But if I had a daughter and she was looking up to that, or not even looking up to that, if that was out there, that would bother me deeply. And it would make me ask the question, how did it get this bad? And this is the time now when you notice it start to get bad.
Hmm.
This is the time when you so in 5 years from now or 10 years from now, if I see a fucking prostitute give a fucking speech at a university, bro, I'm not gonna be shocked. I'm just gonna be like, wow, what did you expect? You saw us 10 years ago, 5 years ago, where a porn star was doing the same thing. So I respect the hustle, but I don't respect the message. And
Hmm.
the only reason I'm able to respect the hustle is because it's you're hustling first of all, right? So you're making a way for yourself, and you don't care about what anybody thinks for you. But also, um, It's it's um it's how do I put this? You're being unapologetic about it. Oh, and it's because so when you start to grow, when you start to say, I don't respect that hustle, I don't respect those kind of people, you start to grow resentful. And resentment is not a quality that is part of success or part of putting you to success. Or you know what I'm saying? It's not part of that. So once you grow resentful, you lose that ability to get inspired. You lose that ability to see past what you're annoyed about. So I just avoid it, take the positivity, and move on. So
That's
that's
an
number
interesting
one.
mindset to have. It's a very
I feel like
interesting
it's
mindset to have.
yeah. You see, but that kind of mindset is the mindset I'm going to carry on for the rest of my life because you could be angry about a certain thing or a certain thing that's clearly wrong, but you could be the only one angry about it, and now you just the only one living a cut life.
Mm,
So focus on yourself. Just focus on yourself. But it becomes tricky when you speak about it. When I say I respect it, it's not that I respect it. It's just that I don't. I say I respect it, so I don't go resentful from it. And
you
um,
don't you don't not you don't respect it, but you understand it. Is what you're saying, yeah?
yeah, that's the point. That is, I understand it, and um, like you can only like another reason why I'm so good at it is because is that my message counteracts counteracts the 5 minutes. It counteracts the message that provides. So
Mm,
you know what I mean. So I live off the whole part of the solution, not adding to the problem lifestyle.
yeah,
So I'm living being part of the solution that counteracts that sort of. So that makes me feel good about myself. Um, but that's why I would never be able to do it myself because I would just be I would just start becoming part of the problem instead of the solution.
yeah, no doubt. The thing for me about OnlyFans is that it is dirty money. Like OnlyFans, prostitution, porn careers, that type of stuff. It's dirty careers. And whenever you have a dirty career, it inevitably leads to dirty consequences. Like Mia Khalifa,
Yeah,
for example.
yeah, I've heard.
Mia Khalifa, for example, like you mentioned, she was on Oxford the other day. All of the comments on that live stream were like, why the flippin' hell is a porn star being invited on Oxford and criticizing her and hating on her. And it's mostly because of the horrible stuff that she has said about men, criticizing men when she went down that career path. But just think about it. She cannot live a normal life now, no matter how hard she tries. She cannot live a normal life now because of her life decisions, you know?
Mm. But that's the bed she's made, and now she's making it more comfortable. But she's putting everybody else under the same cover.
Mm.
I'm gonna leave it at that. That was a good one. I'm gonna leave it at that. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, that's pretty much that on the topic. I don't want to get removed from YouTube on the first live stream.
Yeah, true. Um, we probably gonna go live on TikTok later on next week at some point.
Yeah, just got
Um,
to get that right.
yeah, my TikTok username is Kinggfetty, same as my Instagram. Follow that. We'll go live next week, Friday, Saturday, but next week sometime. So follow that to keep tuned up with that. And we are going to have another podcast dropping on YouTube on Monday. So keep an eye out for that as well. But yeah, we're putting in overtime in terms of the content. We're going to expand. So make sure you catch us on TikTok as well when we go live next week. And yeah, anything you'd like to say before we end it?
No, I think it went pretty well for the first live and
Yeah,
got a pretty decent message across. got a couple of views, couple of likes, and let's see where it goes from here.
Sweet, brother. I'll see you next week.
For sure. See you, dude.
Yes.
Cheers.